Arch Advocate Podcast. I smell bullshit. I smell some MK Ultra bullshit. This guy in New Zealand just, first off, he writes a manifesto talking a whole bunch of gobbledygook that sounds very much like what Charles Manson said back in the 60s. Alex Jones made that point. That same gobbledygook. Helter Skelter, man. Oh yeah, I'm an ecological fascist. Plus, I like Donald Trump, but not really. I think he's bad. Plus, I love Candace Owens and PewDiePie, but Candace Owens is way more violent than I am. Plus, I live in New Zealand that has some of the most strictest gun control laws, and it's on an island. It's not like it's not like Australia where they have pretty much the same gun control laws, only they have their own continent. New Zealand is an island where nobody can have a semi-automatic weapon. And this crazy person who writes out a whole bunch of gobbledygook, right? He writes out this whole manifesto of just pure, like anybody reading it would think, if you go read it, you're not going to be able to close the loop. It doesn't work. It's the ramblings of an insane person, and yet, right? Because keep in mind, people don't just wake up one day and they're insane. It takes time. And it's usually something from birth. And it's usually something where, like, if you are insane, then you go on a list and people watch you. The policeman and the whatever the equivalent of like the FBI for New Zealand is, they keep their eye on you. Crazy. This guy's a crazy person. And don't listen, everybody's looking at this right now because it's awful. He killed, what is it right now? 49 people are dead? And how many other people are wounded to varying degrees? There's going to be people that are going to be pissing and shitting into colostomy bags now for the rest of their lives. There are going to be people with missing limbs. But 49 souls are lost. And this is what we're all looking at now. Because we have to. You're a monster if you don't. There's 49 dead people who are just at their place of worship minding their own damn business. And that's what we're looking at right now. Don't look at the other things that are going on, people. Don't look at the fact that Hamas just launched 2 rockets towards Tel Aviv, a strategically irrelevant target. Tel Aviv is far from Jerusalem. And yet Hamas launches targets, something that hasn't happened in, 6 years? Was the last time they attacked Tel Aviv? Don't anybody look at that because it destroys the narrative. Yesterday, we were all looking at Tel Aviv. We were all saying, oh, okay. And all the liberals were looking at that going, wait a minute. I thought Hamas and the Palestinians were the good people. Why would they launch rockets? Why would they launch missiles into a strategically non-target? It's just people that live in Tel Aviv. Just people minding their own business and going to work and living their lives. It's not Jerusalem. It's not a strategically valuable target. It's just innocent people walking around. So liberals yesterday, everybody was looking at it yesterday going, wait a minute, I thought Hamas was the good people. I thought the poor Palestinians were the oppressed people. Why are they attacking these people who live in Tel Aviv? That's what we were looking at yesterday. What else were we looking at yesterday? The fact that 13 Republican senators turned their back and stabbed Caesar in the back. They turned their back and they voted against the border wall. Don't look at that, folks. Don't look at Tel Aviv. Don't look at the 13 Republican senators who just stabbed the American people in the back. Don't look at that, people. Look at this. And you're forced to look at this because it's the right thing to do. You have to look at this. Look at it, and they're rubbing their faces in it. And how many times do we see this? We saw it with Charles Manson. Well, I mean, none of us, if you're watching this, you probably weren't old enough. I wasn't old enough. But that's what happened. And the Vegas shooter. Now think about this. The Vegas shooter, that thing happened, and the FBI just came out a few weeks ago and they said, okay, well, you know what, we're going to give up because we can't figure out why this guy did this. Fired all those rounds, killed all those people. Oh, we just couldn't get to the bottom of it. Sorry about that. This guy goes on a shooting rampage, and it's not even, as I'm recording this, it's not even the end of the day. They've got this guy all figured out. They've got this manifesto. Oh, don't worry about the fact that he had a semi-automatic weapon in a place where you cannot have a semi-automatic weapon. And it's not like the United States or England or Australia or any place in Europe. You know what I mean? It's New Zealand. They're in the middle of the ocean. Anything getting onto their soil is going to be well documented. So some nut job, some complete wackadoo gets a semi-automatic weapon. And then here's another thing. Don't miss this. Do not lose sight of this. We're growing desensitized to these types of people that just show up and murder a bunch of people. And you lose track of the fact that, listen, killing, it ain't easy. Are you a hunter? Have you ever been on a hunting trip? Have you ever had to kill your own meat? Right? You go game hunting. Right? You kill your animal. You have to process it. It is a difficult thing. It is a difficult thing to see blood. And to see a living creature and know, like, oh, okay, I'm taking this life and I'm going to process the animal and I'm going to skin it and I'm going to take the viscera out and I'm going to, I'm going to preserve the meat. But all the while I'm going to be thinking, like, man, this is some dirty business. It's a spiritual thing to take the life of an animal and then you eat it and feed it to your family, whatever. It's way worse when it comes to human beings. That's why we have all these broken people coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, and they don't know what to do because it's a hell of a thing to take a human life. And it puts you into a weird place with your God. That's why you have so many people losing their mind. Killing ain't easy. And you're talking about people, the Vegas shooter, these people that killed Kathy Tate, with, or whatever her name was, Tate. With the Charles Manson thing, it's like these things. It's like you think it's just a matter of somebody's switch being flipped, and all of a sudden they're crazy people. It does not work that way. You're talking about a guy who went from zero, right? He'd never been in prison for murder. He wasn't a murderer, and all of a sudden he has what it takes to kill 49 people and wounding how many others? The problem is we lose sight of the fact that, listen, when he pulled that trigger the first time, when the blood splattered, there was a spiritual thing that happened right then. And for him, it was the first time. You mean to tell me that all of a sudden, his switch just flipped, and all of a sudden he has what it takes to murder 49 people? I don't buy it. That takes a lot of drugs and a lot of training. And even still, you go back, you read the history of war, any war. Even the books that are written now about Afghanistan. Go read Jocko Willink. Go read what he says about what it's like to take the life of another human being. It ain't easy. And this guy all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, has whatever mechanism you need to kill 49 people. See, you lose me there. That's where you lose me. And it's always these school shootings, Sandy Hook, Parkland, Columbine, all these things. Why is it that they always happen when something is going on that, like when Congress is passing a new bill and the Senate is approving it and the president is signing it, and it's always something horrible for America. And then something comes on the news where it's like, oh, I can't think about what's going on in the government. 49 people just died. There is some mind games being played. You're being played. You're being given the 3-card Monty. You're being given the shell game. Oh, which one is it under? And you're being distracted. Keep focused. That's the show for today. Please hit subscribe. We'll talk to you later.